Hi guys, welcome. I'm Caroline and this is going to be a hopefully short tour of the August TBR. Now I only have 8 books on the TBR. There's no audiobooks. I'm just not in an audiobook mood. I only read one audiobook last month, so I didn't finish my July TBR, which is a topic for another video. So this is only ebooks and print books. And so first, A Short History of Coffee by Gordon Kerr. And this is what it sounds like. It's a nonfiction book about coffee and the rise in popularity and spread across the globe of coffee. And I've read some academic literature on the spread of the popularity of coffee in the Ottoman Empire specifically. But other than that, I am not really sure about how coffee got popularized throughout the rest of the world, at least not in detail. But interestingly, coffee and also tobacco were very important in the social formation of the Ottoman Empire because it sort of gave people places to come together, like a coffee house or like a place where you would go and smoke. And it essentially created leisure time in Ottoman society. And I want to say it's the early 1600s, but it has been a while since I have read academic literature about coffee. So feel free to Google and fact check me. I personally like coffee. I like drinking it, and I also like to learn things. So honestly, this seems like a great marriage of things I love. I am hoping that this guy will then also write a short history of tea, because I would also like to read that. And then next I have Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. And I definitely talked about this in a book haul and my pre-orders video. I am finally actually getting around to it. I have just about started it a little bit. It's a pretty short book, so I am not expecting it to drag. What I've read already, I really like it. It's like the writing style is excellent, and I love the characters so far, and there's some really great imagery already, and I'm only, what, like 50 pages in? Okay, 70 pages in. So this is about Grace Porter. She recently finished a PhD. She's very organized. She's very type A, but to celebrate the end of her PhD, she submitted and defended. She goes to Las Vegas, has a great time with her friends, and wakes up to discover that she is married and she doesn't know her new wife. So this is a sort of backwards reverse engineered romance. And so far it's really cute and wholesome, and I love it. Another short read, I think there's a theme this month, is Melmoth by Sarah Perry. And this is from my 25 high priority print books that I wanted to read from my quarter of a century Makes Girl Think series. And so I will put that below, and all of those videos are part of a playlist, so you don't need to do any searching for the rest of them. And this is a historical fiction. And I did read The Essex Serpent, also by Sarah Perry, which I think is her more famous work because it was the Waterstones Book of the Month a few years ago. And I liked it, but I didn't love it. So I'm really hoping that this is more my vibe. And this is a sort of historical mystery. It takes place over different time periods in 17th century England, wartime Czechoslovakia, Manila, and 1920s Turkey. A lot of people report being followed by a tall, silent woman in black bearing an unforgettable message. And so there seems to be a lot going on in this, and the back is a little bit cryptic, so I'm really pumped to get into this. Next, The Cat in the City by Nick Bradley, and this is for my book club. We are reading cats this year, and so we've read quite a few Japanese literature that have to do with cats, and that's a very popular thing in Japanese literature. So Nick Bradley is not Japanese, but he is a professor of Japanese literature, and so he's taken sort of the themes of other Japanese cat works like The Guest Cat, The Traveling Cat Chronicles, A Cat, a Man, and Two Women. What am I missing? Oh, and If Cats Disappeared from the World. There's probably other cat books I just haven't heard of yet. But he's sort of like taken these and decided to come up with his own atmospheric cat novella in that sort of Japanese cat literature style. So I really want this to be good. I don't know what to expect, and so I'm a little bit nervous, but at least I'm not reading it alone. I will be able to talk about it with my book club. Next, I want to read The Cult of We by Elliot Brown and Maureen Farrell, and this is another NetGalley e-arc, and it's also nonfiction. So this is about the rise and demise of WeWork, and I have listened to the two-part, I think it's a two-part, at least the episode or episodes of Behind the Bastards that talks about the main founder of WeWork and what a eccentric nut he is. And it essentially makes the argument that this guy should have never had that much power to begin with. And he did a bunch of like really weird, crazy things. I've seen a documentary on it as well, and this guy just seems nuts. And also, like, WeWork isn't really a revolutionary idea. It's just offices in a building. You rent out office space. Loads of places do that, but WeWork definitely has branded itself as like some sort of like tech pioneer when it's just office space. Next, this book was not originally on this list. However, my friend works as a publicist in publishing, and she's been hyping Mrs. England by Stacey Halls. So I had to buy it. And Stacey Halls is also the author of The Foundling, which is her previous work, which I have on Kindle. I've been meaning to read it. However, that book is also preceded by the book that I am wanting to read this month, which is The Familiars, also by Stacey Halls. So I just want to read them in chronological order, so that's why I'm starting with The Familiars. And I have also started this one already, and it's also sort of a historical mystery drama, and I'm really liking it so far. The writing style is great, so I will probably be reading both The Foundling and Mrs. England very, very soon. But essentially, The Familiars is about this woman, Fleetwood Shuttleworth. She is 17. She's married to this dude named Richard. They live in a big house in the early 1600s. Fleetwood is pregnant with her fourth child, but she has previously had 3 miscarriages. And so she is emotionally and of course physically scarred from this. So trigger warnings for, discussion of miscarriage for this. And she is desperate to keep this baby, but she's afraid that she's going to die this time as well as lose her baby. So she employs this woman Alice as a midwife, and Alice is a little bit strange. Like, she's not like other people, and so eventually people get suspicious of her, and especially the friend and neighbor of the Shuttleworth family. What's his name? Roger. He is a witch finder, and he wants to get in the good graces of King James I, who, as you probably know, was a big fan of torturing and executing witches and other heretics. So it's very dramatic. There's a lot going on, and I really hope the best for Fleetwood and Alice. Seem like nice girls. Then I want to read The Gilded Ones by Neumann Forna, and the sequel of this book has been announced, and I also want to read that, but of course to read that I need to read this one first, so I actually need to get to it and read it. So hopefully I will actually be doing it this month. It's a little bit bigger than the other ones, but it's not that much. It's just about 400 pages, but it's also gorgeous. Look at it. So this is about a main character. Okay, the back doesn't say what her name is. So the main character is part of the ceremony. Her blood comes out, but it's not red, it's gold. And so she is shunned by her community, which would usually execute, I think, people with gold blood. The Gilded Ones. But then she discovers that there is a community of other women with gold blood who are warriors, and so she joins them. And so I've been hearing so much about this. It's a really hyped book, so I am pretty excited to get into this. And the last book on this list, it is a classic, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. And I've been wanting to read this for so long. It's also pretty short, which I'm feeling that. And this is a hugely influential book in African literature, and honestly it's embarrassing that I haven't read this yet, so I'm actually going to do it this month. And this was also part of my quarter of a century makes girl think 25 high priority print books I want to read. So yeah, take a look at that video while I read this. And this is, I think it's the first in a trilogy. Okonkwo, the greatest warrior alive, and his fame has spread like a bushfire in West Africa, and he is one of the most powerful men in his clan. But he also has a fiery temper. Determined not to be like his father, he refuses to show weakness to anyone, even if the only way he can master his feelings is with his fists. When outsiders threaten the traditions of his clan, Okonkwo takes violent action. Will the greatest man's dangerous pride eventually destroy him? I mean, stick around to find out in my eventual August wrap-up, or you could also just read it. It's short, and I've heard it's really good. So here ends the August TBR. It is short and sweet, much like the books on my list. And you can subscribe to see more content from me, and you can also follow me on social media. All the links will be in the description box. Bye guys.